Hello everyone, I'm Richard Boyd from Energetics Institute and I'm back to discuss some more information in surviving the lockdown. So this week some figures came out which show that the levels of domestic violence have gone up 12%, attributed to the lockdown scenario that most people are living through. At the same time, alcohol sales have gone up nearly 40% across some of the major liquor stores. So these trends are disturbing because they point to the way in which people are coping or not coping with the early stages of the lockdown. So why would people behave in this way? Well, the issue we've got is that the coronavirus is an unseen and therefore hard to detect adversary. So our human brain operates from a place where it looks for threats or perceived threats. And this old part of the brain, in the old reptilian and limbic segment of the brain, helps us do what we always call fight or flight. Now, we are now in a scenario where everyone has information that says there's a real or perceived threat that affects us personally. So most of us, without realizing it, are at some level activated within our fight or flight responses. What's worse is that our normal social engagement practices of going to work, going out and socializing, having coffee, going to the gym, doing sport have all gone. Now, for some of us, the way in which we handle stress, the way in which we handle anxiety is actually governed by these social rituals. So now with those stripped away, a lot of people have lost the resources that help them cope. So now, put back in their homes, put back with people in relationship who, in some cases, they may actually have a shaky relationship, which was basically being handled through avoidance of busyness, where people basically cohabitated and went off to work each day, came home and did a lot of structured activities, but in that way, they were avoiding each other. And now that a lot of these practices are stripped away, people have been asked to actually sit and cohabitate and face each other and resort to talking to each other, living together, and trying to get on and create boundaries and routines within the home that previously they may not have been asked to do. And now they may be finding that they are struggling to do so. So when people are actually in their fight or flight scenario, they're more emotionally reactive, they're defensive. And depending on what is a person's fight or flight go-to strategy, you may be acting from one of fight, which is to go towards and be aggressive and angry and challenge and threaten the perceived or real threat. That's one. The other one is flight, to run. So some people go into fear, so they do withdraw into their homes, but they get a sense of panic. They're activated, so they're anxious. Their muscles are tense. They're wanting to move, and they typically would be jogging and getting out and doing sport, going to the gym. Can't do so. So now they're trapped within their own bodies, which are giving them a lot of stress and hyperarousal. 3, people may be actually going into a shutting down, a numbing, a collapse, a sleepiness, a depression, where basically they're in a freeze response. And what they're doing is their withdrawal is to actually just go and sleep in, to lie around, to not do much, to conserve energy. That's the 3rd one. And the 4th one is actually to use the social engagement principle almost as a defense, which is to go towards and try and engage to create safety. So this is attaching to people in a clinging way, in a needy way, in a way in which is about getting your needs met through someone else. This very clingy, smothering type of attachment can actually be a 4th type of defense. So they're the primary ones that activate when we're up against an adversary, a threat, like we've got with coronavirus. So as people move into their homes and actually asked to live with each other, some people are actually living from these mix of defenses with each other. So this is why you see things like domestic violence going up, because that would be the classic fight response. People can't cope. The fight person wants to find the threat and deal with it. So the brain is engaged to activate and challenge. So when you can't deal with an unseen threat, you might take it out on your partner or your children. So this is why in these contained lockdown scenarios, you get a rise in these sorts of violence scenarios. Otherwise, some people may self-soothe and shut down. So drinking to excess. So with the liquor sales going up, people are actually numbing out and self-soothing because this is their way of dealing with both the boredom and maybe dealing with their partners. So they don't really know how to have intimacy with their partners, to get on with their partners. So everyone just gets basically pissed and numbs out to each other, and they try and, in their own compartmentalised way, cope. But as we know, alcohol can then bring on conflict and acting out behaviours. So that's a bit of insight into the 4 primary activation strategies that fight or flight defence can bring on people. As we go through, I'm going to talk about what we can do in these scenarios and also some other elements of surviving lockdown. So I'll talk to you again tomorrow, and for now, stay safe, stay well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.